We are honored and privileged to have a special guest today. And he's going to be speaking to us and teaching us about making positive life choices. He speaks all over the country to tens and hundreds of thousands of kids about making great choices. He's an expert in that. And whenever we have a guest in the building, it's our job to ensure that we are paying attention, showing one of our hawk habits of being respectful. Because the message we're about to hear could have an impact and will likely have an impact on you for the rest of your life. So we want to make sure that A, you are hearing it, and B, you're not distracting anybody else that's in the audience. And the job you're doing right now with paying attention, your eyes are fixed on me, you're sitting on your bottoms, your hands are in front of you and not to the side, that's exactly what we expect from you. Our presenter today, his name is Mr. Peace. And he has an outstanding message about making positive choices. We are very fortunate to have organizations throughout this district that support our schools. And the Lakes Area Safe Harbor is the reason why we're able to bring Mr. Peace here. He is speaking to the other middle schools throughout our district. But his message is powerful and it's going to be impactful. So please, let's give a nice round of applause for Mr. Peace.
All right, it's great to be here. I see some familiar faces. I know I spoke at Glengarry and Loon Lake just last year, so it's really cool to see some of you again. My name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace, and just to wake us up this morning, like I usually do, we're going to start with some hip-hop, if that's cool with you guys. All right, so 2 fingers up for peace. Let's rock it. Here we go. All right, Walnut Creek, listen in. It's like this. It's love over hate, peace over wars, the dream that MLK and Gandhi lived for. Now it's our time to keep doing right, because we know in just 2 seconds we can save a life. It's love over hate, peace over wars, the dream that MLK and Gandhi lived for. Now it's our time to keep doing right, because we know in just 2 seconds we can save a life. Mr. Peace, empty heart, just to see that my dreams aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be. I still can't see my dreams when we need basic surgery. I'm seeing 2020 and living like officially the moment I arrive. I'm judged by what I wear, but that dreams become alive, and it's just not fair. So I'll keep making strides for being skeptical remains, and I'll flourish and I'll thrive with the flow of my race. See the people are my passion and the reason that I'm rapping, bringing inner satisfaction, the fuel, chain reaction, inspired inspiration for the fire's exploration. Only love is what I'm scrapping, and the cultivated happiness, love over hate, peace over wars, the dream that MLK and Gandhi lived for. Now it's our time to keep doing right, because we know in just 2 seconds we can save a life. All right, now we're woken up. Here's some round of applause. Nice. All right, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, peace. Thank you. So that's how I get up every morning. Different beat on my alarm clock. And I wake up and start freestyling. No, I'm joking. It's great to be with you guys to share my heart. My name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace. I'm actually a full-time youth pastor at St. Mary's in Milford. I work with the youth group there. And I live in Commerce Township with my wife. But my off days, my off weeks, I get to travel this whole country like Principal Kavanaugh was saying. And I get to speak to people from age 5 up to age 105. And before I begin my talks, before I start speaking or get to share my heart, I just like to let my audience know that every single breath that I take this morning is going to be worth your time. So the talk today has a lot to do with these 2 individuals, Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. King. And like the hook of my track just said, or the chorus, I said that it's love over hate, it's peace over war. It's the dream that MLK and Gandhi stood for. But now it's our time to keep doing right, because we know in just 2 seconds we can save a life. And you see, Gandhi said, one of his quotes, right, you've always heard this, be the change you wish to see in the world, but the actual quote is, you must be the change you wish to see in this world. So if you want more kindness, not only in your life or in your, but within the community around you, right, your friends, your family, then you have to show more kindness. He's saying, well, you don't just have to do it if you feel like it. If you feel like it, go ahead and do it. He's saying, no, we must do this. We have to do this, right? And Dr. King said, we just celebrated his birthday not too long ago, but he said that the time is always right to do what is right. And what is right is to show compassion, to show respect, to be in integrity with people around you, to make the right choices that can hopefully positively influence your peers and your success going forward. But even more importantly, what's right is to see everybody around you, as some of the other shirts that I wear, as one race human. That we see people around us and treat them as human beings before anything else. But sometimes things get in the way. So if everybody could just go like this real quick, just make a fist. All right, now go like this. No, don't do that. Listen, this right here, your fist is as big as your heart, right? Your fist is as big as your heart. But look, Walnut Creek, if we let love, peace, compassion, respect, empathy, truth, love fully enter into here, we can turn this into this, right? Peace sign. And the reason that it's two, this is a school in Massachusetts, a middle school, but the reason that it's two is that one figure is yourself and one is someone that you're trying to lift up higher than yourself if you choose that, right? But it's also two because in just 2 seconds, one action, one breath, one heartbeat, one word, 2 seconds, we can either uplift somebody higher than the clouds by what we say or do that it stays on their heart in a positive way for the rest of their life, or in 2 seconds, we can destroy a life, right? And if we start to realize the impact of our actions, that in just 2 seconds, we can change a life forever, maybe even save a life, then we have to be all in for this planet. But we can't be all in if there's still a lot going on in our hearts. If we haven't really been feeling lately, if we have some pain, loss, voids, something going on where we can't really give all we can to the people around us. I was just helping out with my youth group at a soup kitchen in Detroit about 4 months ago. We were serving lunch that day to people that were homeless or just needed a meal. And I was the mashed potatoes that day, and the lady next to me, she was the gravy, and I just kept going one tray after another, right? We served over 1,000 people that afternoon. And our first break in the action, I finally got to know this lady and got to talk to her on the side, where she's from, and she tells me that she was there 2 months earlier, doing the same thing, serving whatever was on the menu that day, and then she randomly looked up across the counter, and she saw her brother. And her heart just sank, because she hadn't seen him in 15 years. He fell into some hard times, lost his job, his house, his car. He turned to some substance abuse and was living on the streets. She hadn't seen him in 15 years, her heart just dropped. So she stopped what she's doing, she ran across the counter, she hugged them, they embraced, they cried. But the whole point of the story was that's how we should be treating everybody all the time. Like they're our brother, like they're our sister. But so much gets in the way, right? So the talk today has to do with positive life choices. And look, maybe one of the biggest choices that we can make is to love ourselves, right? Because if we don't first love ourselves, and I can't tell you how many youth come up to me that say, I don't love myself. When I look in the mirror, there's nothing to love. And it's a lie. But until we love ourselves first, there's no way we can love others, right? Because here's the problem. On average human being, every day has between 60 and 78,000 thoughts. Every day. 60 and 78,000, right? This could be whether you put your right pant leg on before your left or your right shoe before your left, whether you choose to eat Frosted Flakes or Captain Crunch, probably Frosted Flakes for me. Whether you choose to listen to one word that I have to say this morning. Every thought can then turn into an action, right? 60 to 78,000. Out of these 60 to 78,000, research has shown 80% of these thoughts we're having every day are negative in nature, on average, for the average person. So that means that so many people are playing the same negative record over and over and over and over in their minds, right? And here's what's even worse. We're creatures of habit, right? We like routine. So 98% of the thoughts that you had yesterday, about yourself or anything are the same thoughts you're having today. 98%. And I can't tell you how many youth come up to me and they say, Mr. Peace, my 80 is more like 110. Because all I think about every day, all day, is how I'm not worthy of love. How I don't even deserve love. How I'm not good enough. How I'm not even enough. And it breaks my heart. And you guys ever had food poisoning before? Food poisoning? Okay, hands down. I had it from Taco Bell once. And I'm not going to get into the details, but when you have food poisoning, your body rejects it in more ways than one, in more locations than one, right? But the idea is that that type of poisoning, your body rejects that. But whatever you tell your mind and your heart about who you are, that I'm not worthy of love, or I'm a mistake, or I'm the reason for people's pain, it's all my fault, your mind and heart don't know the difference. It's going to believe whatever you tell it, right? It'll always believe whatever you tell it. So we have to be able to say, no, I am worthy of love. Make the choice to love ourselves first, and then go out and spread that kindness and spread that light. But it's never easy, right? It's hard to maintain the peace when you get a phone call that your friend passed away 24 years old. And there's nothing you can say or do. Yeah, that's protocol. You just pray for healing at the friend's closed casket funeral. His only crime, not being buckled in the back seat. So when they hit the median, he flew at least 50 feet. Out the hatchback of his best friend's SUV, at least when it happened, he was already fast asleep. Heading back home on 96 eastbound, it took the cops a while just to track the body down. And at the viewing, you just sit and watch, but without a sound, while inside you're screaming about to cough up half a lung. Numb to the touch because it doesn't seem real. His boy only fell asleep for a second driving behind the wheel. But that's all it took, though. Can only imagine all the pain he feels. Parents have to bury their kids. It's surreal. October 21st, 2010, I lost a dear friend of mine, Steve Nagel. It was to a drunk driving accident. He was in the back seat heading home from a bar in Detroit. He wasn't buckled. And the car hit a concrete median on I-96 going 95 miles an hour. He died on impact. This date marked the start of my hardest year on this planet, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, for the next year. Not even a month after Steve passed, I got a phone call at 2 in the morning from Grandma Flo. She said, Peyton's gone. I said, what are you talking about? She says, Peyton died, 17 years old. And I didn't even know what to think, and it turns out her dad got home off work late like he always did, went into her room, the light was still on. He just thought she forgot to turn it off. He walked in and she was on the floor, lifeless, and they tried to revive her. The ambulance came and nothing, and by the time I got there it was like 3:30, and Grandma Flo just fell into my arms. And what are you supposed to say? Like, what are you supposed to feel, right? It was a heroin overdose. And I remember talking to Peyton that June. I said, I'd love for you to come back and be one of our young adult helpers with the youth group. She just graduated high school, was starting community college, and she said, sure, I'll be there. And those are the last words that I heard from her. 17. 2 weeks after that, my friend Josh, I got a call from another friend. He said that he passed from an oxycodone overdose. He was 22. So I went to back funerals. And now my heart was starting to get pretty full. The same week that Josh passed, I was diagnosed with hepatitis C. Hepatitis is an inflammation of your liver. A and B have vaccines and cures. C is starting to get there. But the treatment at the time for me, almost 10 years ago, was self-injections once a week for 52 weeks. You give yourself shots, 6 pills a day that make you want to throw up. It was like liquid chemotherapy. And I lost 45 pounds in the first month. And then I would be in and out of emergency room, ER, for the next 9 months of my life because of all the health complications. A couple weeks after that, my uncle passed, brain cancer. The next month, another uncle fighting leukemia. that June, my grandfather, the same week, my grandmother. And I was pallbearer for back-to-back funerals. And now my heart was ready to explode. And I really was starting to shut down. I was starting to not care. And then everything culminated in August. I was outside my apartment with my cousin in Ypsilanti, Michigan. And she was pregnant. And two guys in hoods and masks came through with pistols, pointing them at our stomachs and said, "Empty your pockets." And it was a moment in my life where things really flash before your eyes, right? And you start to think about what's important, what really matters. But I remember the weeks that followed, I hated the people that did that to us, right? I hated all the loss in my life, all the death. And even though I looked happy on the outside, inside I was screaming. I was dying. And then I remember having this dream, and I don't tell fake dreams, but it was about two polar bears. And they were scheming on how they were going to steal my Jeep Patriot. And they're like in the corner talking. They're like, "What would you do for a Klondike bar?" He's like, "Well, I would steal Mr. Peace's Jeep Patriot." And I'm like, "Guys, I can hear you like talking. What's going on?" And they're like, "Well, we're bigger than you. It doesn't matter." So they get in my Jeep and they start driving off. I'm like, "No, please wait, stop." And so I'm like, "Guys, just pull over, please." And so I'm like holding on to the side of the door, and they're and they're still going around the corner. And then finally, one of them bites down on my arm, and I remember waking up. And I didn't feel anything. Because I had become numb to all this pain in my life. I had stopped feeling. Even worse, I stopped caring how I treated people. That was at the lowest end of my priority. I even got to the point at the peak of my pain, contemplating going towards substances, just to help with the pain, right? But then I had this wake-up moment in my life, and I said, you know what, the best way that I can honor these people's legacy that have gone before me, to make sure that they didn't die in vain or die for nothing, and that they still live on in my heart, was by how I choose to live today. See, I was broken, but I was okay. And almost 10 years later to the date, I'm healed physically from the hepatitis. It's not traceable in my body still. But more importantly, I was healed in here, in my heart, right? And look, sometimes these storms have to happen, guys, in order for rainbows to appear, for new life to spring up, right? And sometimes with pain comes greatness. I've been to 20 states. I've talked to over 1 million youth, over 1,000 schools. Because I chose to make that positive choice to honor these people that have fallen before me. To not let that pain define who I am going forward. It's a part of me, all the loss, but it doesn't have to be the end of my story. And there's a story about a butterfly. This guy was doing his dishes like around noon in the kitchen. And he sees this, and he gets done, he's putting all the dishes back on the rack to dry. But before he leaves, he sees this butterfly, soon-to-be butterfly, out the window, struggling. It's this caterpillar trying to get out of the cocoon, right? He's like, well, didn't think much of it. But he comes back 3 hours later at 3 o'clock to put the dishes away, and he sees this caterpillar. It's moved like 2 millimeters, right? He's like, well, I gotta help this thing. So he gets a pair of scissors, walks outside, cuts a bigger slit, it falls right out, easily. But what he just did is he just doomed this butterfly from ever being a butterfly. Because what happened is it fell right out easily, but it needs to struggle, it needs to suffer in order to finally blossom, in order to bloom. It needs that suffering, the pain, to have fluid get pumped through its wings so it can finally fly. What he did is made sure that it will never fly, have a swollen body and shriveled wings for the rest of its life, right? Sometimes these storms happen in order for new life to spring up. If we choose this, right? And guys, I know it's not easy. I know it's not. It's hard to sometimes forgive yourself if something's happened in your life. It's hard to move past some of this loss and this hurt. But we have to do it. We have to be all in. I have so many youth that come up to me and say, Mr. Peace, I didn't get to say goodbye to someone that I cared about. I didn't get to tell somebody that I loved them. I wish I could just bring them back for just 2 minutes, Mr. Peace. Just tell them how much I care. When were some of your most painful memories? Anyone? Yeah. Your grandma passed? How long ago? A couple of years. What was her name? You can tell me later. What was yours? Your cousin passed? And how long ago was that? Father's Day last year. How about anybody else? When was your most painful memory? Your cousin passed. Yeah. Say it again. Your uncle passed. Yeah. One of your best friends. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Your aunt. Your father. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Your grandma. Thank you. You guys support each other, okay? Hey guys, we can't get to everyone because I gotta keep going. But I want you to pay really close attention right now, and I see some tears going, and that's okay, because that's strength. That's the sweat of your strength. But listen, pay really close attention. What question did I ask? What question did I ask? Anybody remember? I said, when was your most painful memory? All of you, and I could have went around the whole room, all of you told me what it was, not just when. Which tells me that the pain is still raw. It's still in your heart. And like I just talked about at the start of my talk, until we get past some of that pain, we can't be all in, right? We have to start feeling. It's okay. Tears are strength, guys. I've cried a lot. They're the sweat of our strength. They're the start of healing. They're the start of feeling, right? We're told not to cry. I get that. But this is okay. Because guys, with all of this comes greatness if we let it happen. Because look, when you guys are first born, right? Goo goo gaga. When you guys are first born, our hearts are like this empty cup. Pretty much empty, free of pain, free of hurt, free of loss. Right? But little by little, our hearts, like this cup, they start to get full. And if I keep filling this up, what's going to happen? It's going to overflow, right? And a first grader said, it's going to explode. I said, no, it's not. But here's the idea. If I keep filling this up, it could either overflow onto ourselves, and unfortunately we see this a lot with self-harm issues too. But even worse, it could overflow on someone else and how we treat them, right? And so one of the biggest reasons that sometimes we aren't more kind to people is because hurt people hurt people. That if I'm hurting in my heart, the easy thing to do is to push that pain onto someone else, or try to fix it with like a temporary solution, right? But look, no matter how full this gets of pain and loss, guys, there's always room for love if we let it, if we choose this. So look, it's true, Walnut Creek, that hurt people, but it's also true if we choose this, that healed people can heal people. And what I mean by that is that if I choose to become healed, right, in my heart, if I choose to forgive people or myself, people that have shown me only hate, which is not easy to do, and get past some of that loss and that hurt and that pain, then now I become healed. Now I can fully go and help heal other people. Because look, Dr. King said that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And he said, hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. And I'm brought into schools so often to talk about bullying or substance abuse, like the topic today, or even like suicide prevention, self-harm, violence, all these things. But those are just the symptoms of people that are in pain. And you guys see that this morning, and I encourage you guys to support these people. And I'm going to be here at all the lunches to talk to you guys one-on-one. So if something's on your heart, we can work past that, okay? It's okay. But the whole idea is that there's deeper issues going on, right? That are causing people to do these other things. And we have to fix that part first. And look, there's so much hope in other people's stories. I had a 9-year-old come up to me. I was just speaking north of Chicago at an elementary school. And this 9-year-old named Sandy came up to me and she said, hey, Mr. Peace, and she was crying. One of her friends was holding her too. And she said, Mr. Peace, I just lost my best friend. Her name was Alexa. She was 9 years old. She had a tumor. She was fighting cancer. And she said, Mr. Peace, I haven't really been treating people the best. I've been really bitter about it. I haven't really felt a lot. But she said, I don't want that to be how I honor her legacy. She said, going forward, I'm going to show love. I'm going to be more peaceful, more kind. And she gave me this bracelet. It says, hashtag love never ends. Hashtag love never ends, right? And there's a speaker named Nick Vujicic. There's a picture of him right here. He's from Australia, right? He has no arms, no legs. That's how he was born. And he speaks all over the world. He has a wife, 4 kids now. He's talked to millions of people all over the world. But growing up, you can imagine how severely bullied he was, right? To the point that he even contemplated taking his life. His mom originally, when he was born, you might have seen the Facebook video recently. At first when she saw her son, she's like, I don't know if I can even handle this, you know? And he grew up thinking some of those things and all these negative thoughts, but now he's gone on to do amazing things, impossible things. This is him swimming, right? This is crazy. All of us can do this. I'm going to show you a quick video of Nick, and we're going to talk about it.
But honestly, along the way, you might fall down like this. Ready? So what do you do when you fall down? Get back up. Everybody knows to get back up, because if I start walking, you're not going to get anywhere. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. Do you think you have hope? Because I tell you, I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again, and again, and again. But I just want you to know that it's not the end. It matters how you're going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? And you will find that strength to get back up, like this.
He's able to make this choice in his life where he's not letting what's happened to him in the past and all the negativity and all the opinions out there matter. What matters is that he remembers his worth, right? And we can see all of our worth right on the palm of our hands. Some of you guys already know this, but every one of you, with the lines of your hand on your palm, on one of your hands or both, you have the letter M with the lines of your hand. Some of you guys have bigger ones. Sometimes there's like a faint line that connects it, right? And this M stands for Michigan. No, I'm joking. Said that Columbus, Ohio got kicked out. But listen, this M stands for miracle. But here's the problem, Walnut Creek. Upside down, W for worthy, and for Walnut Creek, right? But the problem is, so many students that I speak to, they don't see this in themselves. And this is a student named Dylan. He was a 4th grader in this picture from a school in Connecticut. He came up to me crying after my talk, said, Mr. Peace, I'm always getting put down and bullied and teased because of my size, just because I'm kind of short for my age. And he had some other issues going on at home too. But he pulled this out of his pocket. And he said, Mr. Peace, I look at this once a day to remember who I am from somebody that told me this. And I believe this. But this was a lie. He says, I look at this once a day to remind myself who I am. And it breaks my heart, but it says, I'm a mistake. He said, you forgot M also stands for mistake. But he said, Mr. Peace, I don't want to believe that anymore. I want to believe this. So his classmates that same week sent me this picture. They all traced their hands with the M, and they said, we're going to support Dylan. We're going to help him see that he's worth everything, that he is a miracle, that all of you guys have that same power to do the same thing, right? To remember that not only you are good enough, but everybody around you is too. And I just talked in Pennsylvania to a middle school, and I had a 6th grader come up to me after my talk. Her name was Kylie. And this was the school that housed all the visually impaired students of that school district. So she was legally blind. She had a walking stick like this to make her way up to me. And she came up to me and she said, hey, Mr. Peace, can you trace my M? Because she can't even see her hands. And so I said, yeah. And so I did. I traced her hands so that she could feel it. And she looked at me and she said, Mr. Peace, that's the first time that I've ever felt like a miracle. Guys, that's the same power all of you guys have if you choose this, right? And the need is beyond there. This is Jackson Bezant. And you guys have seen Wonder, the movie Wonder, or read the book with Augie, right? This is a real life wonder. He's from Idaho. He's 8 years old. Here's why I'm showing you this. He's an 8-year-old special needs student. He has Treacher Collins, just like Augie, which is where the facial tissue and the bones in your face don't fully form. Kind of leads to a disfigurement. And people at his school were calling him freak, monster, ugly on a daily basis. Guys, he came home and told his dad at 8 years old, Dad, I'm thinking about taking my life. At 8 years old. His dad got on social media that night, his heart was broken. He got on social media that night and he said, can anybody send my son some encouragement? Because this shouldn't be happening. People from all across the country, the world, sent videos, people your age, younger, older, to encourage Augie. He came back to school empowered. Sorry, not Augie, I saw Wonder recently. Jackson. And he is a wonder too, right? But he comes back to school empowered. And so the reason I'm telling you this, yes, you can have an impact on the lives sitting to the left of you, the right of you, in front of you, behind you, here within these walls at Walnut Creek. But you guys can be having an impact on people's lives across this world. That's why we have to be all in, right? Why we have to make that positive life choice. Because the need is there. And we can always choose kindness. I've had the opportunity, guys, to speak in Newtown, Connecticut. And at Sandy Hook. And I'm going back there in April to the middle school to share my heart. And some of you guys remember in 2012 there was a very, very bad school shooting where a lot of students lost their life, especially elementary students. But the whole focus of this community, they don't want to focus on the tragedy and all this loss. So the 2nd grade class gave me this. They all signed it. And it says, one kind word can change someone's entire day. One kind word can change someone's entire day. Guys, I believe one kind word can change someone's life, can maybe save a life, like the 2 seconds that we talked about, right? That's why this talk today is so important for all of us to really consider where we're at, that we really love ourselves and work past some of the pain and become all in for this planet. So we can always choose kindness and we can always choose love. Guys, hate, fear, bullying, some of those things will still be around, but love, the one word that's in focus in the middle, can always change hearts. I had a girl that did, she wrote this for me. This is from a 5-year-old named Lillian. And sometimes students, they'll give me like a letter or something, or like a drawing. But she gave me this book, this kindergartner. It says, thank you, Mr. Peace. Aim for the good days, not the bad days. Love, Lillian. And she left the inside blank. I said, why'd you do that? She's like, well, I did it on purpose, Mr. Peace. And I said, okay, but why? She's like, because we choose good or bad. We choose how we're going to treat people, how we're going to make our life, no matter what's happened to us. And I don't come to these talks to pretend that I know what goes on behind closed doors or what's in your heart. I don't. I come with an open heart to hopefully touch a small piece of yours. And she said, Mr. Peace, we can choose love or hate. This is a 5-year-old. If a 5-year-old can choose this, all of us can choose this. and should choose this, right? We can all make this positive life choice. I was speaking at an elementary school not too long ago, and I came back 2 weeks later to have lunch with the students. And this first grader named Trey came up to me, he's like this tall. And he saw me from across the cafeteria. He's like, "Yo, Mr. Peace, my boy, come here, Mr. Peace." And I said, "Trey, what's up, man?" And he said, "Hey, Mr. Peace, do you remember when you told us to treat people with more kindness and love, to love ourselves and show love to others?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I went home that night and I told my dad," I said, "Can you start treating us with more kindness, love, and respect?" And he told me that his dad looked at him and said, "Don't you ever talk to me like that. Don't you ever talk to me like that. I'm an adult." And he just walked past him. And Trey came back to school on fire. He said, "Mr. Peace, people will feel my pain. They will feel how I feel." And his dad ended up taking off a week after that, and there was a lot of other issues leading up, and there was some alcohol abuse going on. But he said, Mr. Peace, people will feel how my heart feels." And I looked at him and our eyes are locked. I said, "Trey, you still have a choice to be a great son to your mother, a great brother to your sister, and one day, if you choose to break that cycle, a great father." And our eyes are locked, and I see a tear coming down his cheek. And I'll never forget his next words. He says, "I like chicken." And I said, "What?" And this first grader's mind was on to the next topic. He's like, "Yeah, Mr. Peace, they're serving chicken tenders for lunch. They're bomb. You gotta try them." And I said, "What?" And I came back 2 weeks later. He sees me in the hallway. He runs up to me, gives me a hug. He said, "Mr. Peace, I'm choosing love. I'm choosing kindness. I'm choosing peace." This is a first grader, right? A 7-year-old that likes chicken. So guys, a couple closing thoughts just to consider, because I know we're getting close to our time. But if you guys live to be 80, if all of us live to be 80, on average, we're going to have taken 673 million breaths, 23,000 a day, 3.4 billion heartbeats if you live to be 80 on average. That's 115,000 a day. The goal is to make as many of these count as possible. Mark Twain said the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day that the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl. Sorry, but we have a new coach, so we're praying. But the day that you find out why, and part of your why, and why it's so important to be all in for this planet with every breath, every heartbeat you have, is sitting to the left of you, the right of you, behind you. This is part of your why. Guys, this is my why. It's people that are in pain. Guys, we have billions of nerve endings in our body. We're going to feel pain at some point in our life, and some people have felt it more than others. But we always have a choice how to respond to that pain. And a lot of times we just have to work past a lot of that hurt, right? I had another couple series of deaths recently in my life. This was in 2017. And my Aunt Linda passed. She was 70. And within 24 hours, I lost my Uncle JC. He was 81. My friend Irene Kopko, she finally passed. She was 103. My friend Egypt, if you guys have gone up and down 275 or 94, you'll see some billboards. But the reason I did the first track this morning was that she was supposed to be on the chorus. And she's done some music with me in the past, but she was unfortunately killed back in June in Belleville. And this is another student. His name is Quincy Hope. And he's at a high school. And he unfortunately lost his life at 14 years old. And I was trying to bring some healing to their school. And ironically, his name is Hope. And I had a student that came up to me, and so many students, I wear about 10 or 12 of these bracelets every talk, and they become my armor, they become my strength. Because they're for people like you, some younger, some older, that said, "Mr. Peace, if you didn't come today, I may not even have been here that much longer." Because the self-hatred, the non-love in their heart was getting so high, the pain was getting so high, they were thinking about leaving this earth. And it breaks my heart. Because suicide, guys, is never about wanting to die, it's about not wanting to deal with the pain. And I'm so proud of you, and all the courage you guys have of really, truly feeling in this assembly. I really appreciate that. But one of the students that had given me this bracelet at the same assembly with Quincy, it says, "I am a sign of hope. I am a sign of hope." And that's what all of us are. And all of us that are still here, you're here for billions of reasons, but one of the biggest is to help people going through the same storms, the same hurt that you've been through. To be their light, especially if they can't see that they're miracles. That's up to each and every one of you. And guys, you never have to go alone. There's people standing all around this room that care about you so much. Your counselors, your teachers, your principals, myself, your lunch staff, your best friends. All these people love you. You never have to go alone, ever. If you keep your heart open. If we don't have time to talk today, but I'm sure we will at lunch, if there's something on your heart, maybe right after this assembly before the next one. But if you guys need to reach out to me, I don't always get back to you right away, but I always get back to you. My contact info is there. Mr. Peace Geese, Instagram, Mike Geese, why not? Mr. Peace 101, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. All your teachers will get one of my cards, and they can make copies for you guys, so you guys will have that too. If you guys, like I said, need to reach out, I don't always get back to you, but my promise is that I always get back to you. And guys, I don't have all the answers. I just try to reflect what you already know. That you guys are beautiful. You guys are miracles. You guys touch my heart. Sometimes you just got to be reminded of that. These shirts are on the website too in different colors. Keep your head up upside down on purpose. So if you look down or feel down, it says keep your head up. That's why it's like that. There's also the One Race Human shirts in different colors. You guys can continue the message that way, guys. But more importantly, I want you to just continue this message by how you choose to live, right? By not only the hawk habits, respecting yourself, being determined to overcome some of this pain, choosing excellence, but just making a positive life choice. Thanks again to Lakes Area Safe Harbor, guys. They're the ones that help sponsor it, like your principal was saying, here in the community. Lakes Area Youth Association as well. I'm just going to end with a quick minute hip-hop track to close us out on a positive note. But real quick, if something I shared touched your heart, can you raise your hand? If something I shared touched your heart, hands down. So at Walnut Creek, that means that you guys were given a gift. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2 pieces. That means you guys were given a gift, and now it's up to you to go share that gift. So let me get in my zone. Let's rock it out on a positive note here, and I'll see you guys at lunch. Mic check, 1, 2. I get all my hip-hop skills from your principal. Walnut Creek Middle School, I got something to tell you. That's why I'm here today, to rap this to home. So listen to me and hear what I have to say. Hey, it's Mr. Peace, yeah, and you all my family. Let's break it down and start sharing about our feelings, about a new way that'll help promote healing. But be honest, pinky promise if you really want peace. And if you do, then show your hands, please. I mean, for real, we need to take responsibility by including others when you have the opportunity. At lunch, in gym, even in the hallways. Any chance to be a friend throughout the whole school day. Because with peace, I need all your support. I need everyone to step it up. Grades 6, 7, 8, 4. Good role models while demonstrating non-violence. Put an end to all of the hate that you see. Yo, you gotta have each other's back through the thickest of thick and the darkest shade of black. The lowest of lows, everything to look back. Peace brings love, that's exactly what we lack. Like this, just let them say that you're peaceful, full. And if you got peace, I got peace too. I'm saying whoa, just let them say that you're peaceful, full. And in the words of Gandhi, peace be with you. Alright, now listen, when I say peace, you all say in. Peace. And when I say peace, you all say out. Peace. guys. We'll see you at lunch. Thank you.
Sixth graders, can I have your attention, please? As I told you at the beginning, eyes on me, guys. As I told you at the beginning, there was an expectation to ensure that you were being respectful and listening, and you all did an outstanding job of that, so thank you. In addition to that, we talked at the beginning about being moved, having this presentation impact you for likely the rest of your life. I certainly felt that today, Mr. Peace, and on behalf of our entire staff, our entire school, students, let's give Mr. Peace a big round of applause. What I also want to mention, which I think is very honorable and just flat out awesome from Mr. Peace, is that he isn't just going to come and then leave. He's going to be sticking around for the lunches. So a lot of you may have some feelings of inspiration, some thoughts of sadness, some ideas, a story. At lunch, he'll be here. And that'll be your opportunity to come up and say a few words to him, but I sincerely appreciate you being able to stick around because your message was outstanding and moving and powerful. So thank you for that. Students, once again, great job during this.